Hello, the speech I'm going to make today is generally called informative speech. It is speech that will educate people and help an audience to know some, to learn some new knowledge. And the topic of my informative speech today is called intentional emotional distress. Under California law, intentional infliction of emotional distress is generally called IIED. It's a type of damages to your mental health and mental health as distinguished with physical health. And this is very common. This damage is very common generally and will be usually brought up in a torts case. As you can tell from it, the name of the damage, it is caused by some intentional activity by some other people, and this intentional activity actually cause damage to a victim. Based on this theory, a victim could recover some amount of damages because of the harm. To establish intentional infliction of emotional distress, under California law, generally a plaintiff or, as I just mentioned, the victim need to prove the following things. First, the defendant's activity must be extreme and outrageous. Second, the defendant intended to cause such damages to your mental and emotional health. Third, the plaintiff suffered severe emotional distress as a result. I mean that because of the defendant's intentional activity. Last point is that the defendant's intentional conduct is a substantial factor to the victim damages. For the four elements, there are two very important elements which are heated litigation subjects in every case. The first issue is what is extreme and outrageous. Generally, during a trial, the court will firstly decide whether there is extreme and outrageous. In this case, in any case, the court, pretty much the judge will need to answer one question: whether a reasonable person under circumstance will may deem the activities as extreme and outrageous. If the answer is yes, it means that if from the judge perspective, a reasonable person will deem certain activity as extreme and outrageous, then the court will allow a jury to decide on this issue. It means that jury then will have the privilege to make a verdict on the issue. Of course, even if the judge believes that there is a chance to prove extreme and outrageous requirement, in the end, the jury could say that I didn't find it. I do not find it. If that is the case, then there is no extreme and outrageous. Put it in short, it means that the judge would first decide whether there's any chance to prove extreme and outrageous element. If there is such chance, the jury will make a final decision on this issue. In addition to extreme and outrageous, another very important issue is that whether the plaintiff or the victim actually suffered severe emotional distress. To prove severe emotional distress, one most important thing is that you do not need to prove actual physical damages. It means that if a plaintiff incurs no physical damage or no physical symptom, as a matter of law, it is still entitled to emotional distress damage, because damages to emotional distress and damage to physical health are two distinctive and separate damages. To prove emotional distress, generally the plaintiff can show that it is because of the defendant conduct is highly unpleasant, and it's highly unpleasant from mental perspective, and that actually causes damage. The damage could be that, like, such as the plaintiff or the victim says, well, I feel really, really unpleasant. Like somebody says some dirty word to you, it's possible as a matter of law that you can develop some emotional distress. And for this element, again, the law follows the same rule that you must prove the court must prove the emotional distress first. If the court thinks that there's a chance to prove severe emotional distress, then the court will let the jury to decide on this issue. Intentional infliction of emotional distress is a very important element in torts in California. So generally, people should pay attention. Any legal practitioners in this area, in torts area, must pay attention to it, as it's very important. That's that.